Hello. I'm just fixing something. Hang on. Bit of that. Bit of that. Fix that. I want that. And I want to do that. And I want to do that. So. Yeah. Right. So, hello, Mickey Catsme. How are you doing? I'm not mentally ill here. I'm definitely lacking gently at the edges of humanity, just because it's been a long day. But what I don't understand is, I know I finished work a bit late, about an hour and a half late, but that's not the point. It was still kind of like 5:30. I literally went to the kitchen, got a couple of packets of pre-cooked pasta. Hi Bianca. Got a couple of packets of pre-cooked pasta. Ate it cold, by the way, so it's not like I spent time heating it. And it's 8 o'clock. How in the name of Murphy did it go from 5:30 to 8 o'clock without me actually doing anything? Where did that time go? This is the problem I have with this, is that it's not that I don't necessarily want to stream. It's the fact that by the time I've done this, it'll be like 10 o'clock. Then I set it to upload and I've gone to bed. I will not have done a single living thing other than eat, well, in this case, cold pasta outside work today. Where did the time go? I did not fall asleep. I am not knowingly missing time, other than the fact that I go to do something and something that really only takes 30 seconds has somehow been like 2.5 hours, and you're like, nah, I'm not a slow eater, so it's no way that it was that. you know, I know one thing I did after work. It's not very exciting, really. But one thing I did after work, so let me show you, was... This is how not exciting it is. Shuttles. 2 colours, look. Little white one, little blue one. And there'll be another little white one on the end of this blue one. And the blue one will join another blue one on at the end of a horseshoe. And so far I haven't fucked it up, which is kind of impressive. So, for example, if we were to try and finish the little horseshoe, bear in mind I am the most cack-handed weirdo when it comes to doing this, so bite me is all I can say on this matter. See, that didn't work. I just find this whole kind of shuttle shit and loops and things really bad. So that's 2, 3, 4. Now, somehow you're actually supposed to join, I think, at this point, that one. Yeah, you're supposed to be joining that one. So now I need to go find a pokey stick. There's a pokey stick. And go through this basically non-existent hole. Because the pattern I said basically did non-existent holes. So we did non-existent holes. And I think maybe I took it a little bit too much to heart. But my holes are about the same size as their holes, so I'm not going to pretend that that's not a thing. And yes, that is my tatting needle. But the pokey thing on the end of this is definitely not big. It was too big. So that goes on the end of there like that. and I need to find a way of making sure that this still moves, which does. Good. Haven't fucked it up yet. Hurrah! So now I need to do the second half. That's right. So we do the second half of one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we need a little hole for the next one, and we do 4 more. So we do 1, maybe a bit big, but there we go. 2, 3. That's not 2, I don't think. Counting. That's 2. 3. And I'm forever catching my finger. 4. Then we scooch it all up like this. And we have the other little blue, other little white one. And there you go. I have, but he's leaning over there and he's kind of probably supposed to be over here. So you kind of, you can probably adjust it by pulling this blue one. No, I can't, because it means this blue one's looser than that one. There we go, evened it out a bit. Yeah, really kind of struggling with the whole mentality, because of course now I have to, for the next bit, to do the next bit, I have to wind this round my little finger, hang on, because there's no loop for the next one, which my brain hurts, because, well, it does, and I'm not very good at wrapping it around my finger apparently, because you just get in a knot. So let's wrap it around my finger, right, and then we need to do, now this is where some of this whole reversing shit doesn't make sense to me, but we reverse it and it's already come off my finger, there you go. And then we need to do, no, don't go in through the hole, which it does. See, now it's too long, and so that needs to come to there, and then we need to do, see, now it's not tight around my finger. This is why I find this so cack-handed, is there just seems to be so much that, don't fall off my fucking finger then! I mean, seriously, just stay on that finger and do as you're told. So there's 1. And then we need to do a bunch more. And I need you to be poking away, otherwise you sneak in. But now it's too long again. 2. So you're too long for one, and then you're too short for the next one. I don't get that. I don't see how you can be that bad. 2. It's really hard to do on the screen. 3. I need to do 6 of these fuckers. 4. Doesn't look right. There it is. Just needed to pop a bit more and it's a bit tight. 4. Go over my hand, for Christ's sake. 5. And not round that finger. I'm forever getting it round that finger. 6. So that one then scoots up a bit. Like that. And then you undo this one. Drop this one. Grab this one. And then we make a loop with this one, because we actually get to make a loop with this one. And then we need to do, make sure you're reasonably scooted, and then grab you. and do, I need the pokey thing away, 1, and to scoot you up as close as you'll go. 2, 3, 4, and then we need to do the pokey hole thing with this one. So we go through that pokey hole and grab this and try and get that through the hole like that. Like that. And then poke you through it without fucking it up. So you need to stay kind of immovable, although you're barely movable, but you are movable. Right, so, but somehow this is not feeling right, but there we go. Now I need to do, I think I was supposed to do 6, not 4. Yeah, I was. I need to unpick that bit. So you need to come back through the hole. Like that. And then we need to do 2 more. Because I can't count. So we need to do 2 more. So 1, 2, and then we need to scoot them a bit. And now we need to go and find this one and try and work out how, in the name of mercy, this is supposed to connect to that one. So, thing through the hole, pokey pick, like that, and you go through the hole, like that. Then we try and put all this back on my hand, because that's a thing. So, you are still movable, that's a good thing. And then now we do 4, that's right. So it's getting all fucking twisted. This is the one thing you don't tend to get so much with the needle. I mean, you do, but it tangles in the bit that comes once you've finished, so you can kind of like sort it out afterwards. So that's 1, 2, 'oops, that's not right, it's got a bit wonky, 3, come off my finger, 4, then we need to leave a gap and do 6, 1, hey neck kisser, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. That's not right somehow, that's just a big pile of wank. Let's try that again. So I've done 5, and I 1, 2, 5, yep. 6 and 6. Now we shrink this up, assuming it does still shrink, and try and not to get caught up with somehow how this has got a long tail on it and twisty, because, well, that's shit. And let's try not to, and it's all twisted, and because it's all turned into a big pile of twist, because it really loves being a big pile of twist. And I want to pull on that and make that small, like that, even though it's still twisted, piece of piss. Yeah, that's you. And then now we go back to putting this one back round my little finger and cursing about fingers again, but we use the white one this time. See, that's too big, because that's just too big. There we go. Right, so now we do this one, and do we turn it over? This is the question. Hang on. Yes, now we turn it over and we do it this way. So we start with this here, and then we do, it's got to have the pokey end away from me, otherwise I cock it up. Not that I don't cock it up anyway, but so then we try and snug this as much as we can, because, well, that's the only time we get a chance. One, pointy end away from me, please. One. Get off. 4, get off. 5, get off my finger. 6. And then we scoot you up a bit to make the kind of loopy bit. Stop complaining, dog. So there you see we have the next loopy thing, and then we need to turn it over again, because turning it over I don't get this fascination of turning it over. It's a very common theme in tatting, but it doesn't mean I understand it. I mean, I kind of understand it, but I kind of don't. So when you turn it over, whichever way is on your left is where the bobbles arrive. So you can dictate which side the bobbles are. But you can also just twist them later. So why turn it? It just kind of adds to the complication in my eyes. It just seems to make life way more complicated for me. 1, 2, 3, get off my finger, 4. Now we need to poke through here, like this, and grab the white one, missed, put it up through there, yes, and try not to twist it too much, which is easier said than done, because, well, it really does revel in the delight of being twisted. And then you go through the hole, like this, boink. You get straightened up and back through there, like that. Good. Right. So that's you. I've got an itchy nose. It's like something crawled up my nose. It was one of those sudden, really bad, like something's up my nose kind of feelings. So then, so there's the other half of that one. So that's 1. 2, 3, 4, leave a hole, 1, Ooh, it's getting a bit small, this one. Look. This is the problem I find every time, is that I go to do something. See, now, something didn't flip, so it doesn't want to move. There we go. Now, of course, I need the loo, because I thought about something. So let's make it a bit bigger. That's one. And that looks all mungified. Because that's not just one. I'm sure that's a half. Because I have no idea what I did last now. Because, well, okay, that's two. So already it feels too small, even though I've just made it bigger. 3. Drop a finger then. 4. And then we make it a little small hole. Squirty, squirty, pull that out of the way because it's getting all tangled. Squirt, squirt, squirtle. And it wasn't quite as tight as I thought it was at the beginning, which is a bit annoying because now there's a big white gap there, look. So you pull that nice and tight. And I'm making a 2-colour doody thing. So now there'll be the blue ones on this side. But I'm going to have to be right back because I just need the toilet, even though I went only mere moments ago. That was 20 minutes ago, I guess, but not exactly long, is it? Back in a minute. It is a sweet picture of my puppy dogs. It's when they're best behaved, when they're asleep. Because when they're awake, they're annoyings. Yes, you're annoyings. Hello. What? You had dinner. Don't be pretending you didn't. At least your dinner was kind of, well, proper. Mine was cold and it should have been hot. But to be honest, it's really frustrating. If you've ever had like Uncle Ben's pre-cooked rice that you kind of whack in the microwave for 2 minutes, the rice in the pouch is primarily cooked, but it needs just that last little bit in the microwave to cook it. This pasta in a bag is overcooked before it's, well, even when it's cold. Pasta should have a little chomp to it. Not a lot of chomp, but a bit of chomp. This is like baby food. So I was eating it because, well, I need to clear the packets that I bought, because I bought a few varieties to see what they were like. I won't be doing that again. I totally agree. Rice is, it's not like it's fucking difficult. But at a push. I mean, for me, it's the... Rather than trying to have day-old rice to do something with, cold microwavable rice is exactly right for me. Because then if you're going to do a stir fry, you take a packet of cold rice that's 99% cooked, whack it in, fry it up, and you don't have to have made it the day before. You don't have to have thought about it. You can just do it today without any prior thought. It's the only time I tend to use pre-cooked rice, just because, well, I don't have rice with a lot of meals. I mean, I don't not have rice with a lot of meals. You know, you don't have... Well, especially something like rice, because I know it only takes 20 minutes usually to cook your rice. But then, of course, it's hot. And if you need it day old, well, you've got to have done it yesterday. And chances are you don't know you fancied it yesterday because it's now today. And so I do find that for stir-fry rice, my dirty secret is I quite like using basically Uncle Ben's pre-cooked rice. But that is the only time I actually use pre-cooked rice. All the rest of the time I proper cook rice in a cooker. I've got a pressure cooker, stroke slow cooker, stroke rice cooker, stroke friggin' everything else. And it does do very decent rice. So, but it's when you want cold rice that's already cooked. Well, a pack of it sitting in your cupboard that can sit there for a while. It is just too easy, right? I've got 3 minutes to add. And so it is kind of my dirty confession. Any other time, if I'm having, if I'm having a curry or I'm cooking something, I will cook my own rice. Without a shadow of a doubt, I've got kilos of the stuff. But when it comes to feeling lazy, well, it is a bit, because it really wouldn't kill me to make some and keep some in the fridge. But cold rice in the fridge, I won't say goes off, because, well, it kind of does, but it doesn't, if you know what I mean. I've got to have had the forethought to cook it, and I usually don't. And it'll be like, I really fancy a stir fry. Cheaty rice. And that's slightly the different. We Brits don't, because we tend to do a mix of pasta, potatoes and rice. So it might be 3 or 4 days since you last had a rice meal. And, well, you've probably already eaten the rice by now. So it's not quite the same. We do like potatoes. We are rather fond of potatoes. But I also quite like pasta and rice and stuff. I'm not against any of them. But, you do tend to... It's less likely to have cold rice kicking about. So having a packet of pre-cooked kind of rice. Why do they always taste so good? Why are carbs filling? If carbs... I mean, if you've ever watched My £600 Life, for which I am a bit of a connoisseur, carbs and sugar. Yeah, but that's where the fun is. I do mean it genuinely. I mean, I'm not against, some roast veg and some soups, and really not. But a soup's so much better with some real thick, crusty bread with, half a pound of butter slapped on top of it. Or those chicken breasts that are all healthy and nice and some vegetables. Don't half really go nicely with some roast potato. You'd never have pasta sauce on its own. You always have the pasta with it. And it's the sauce that you really remember eating, not the pasta. So it's just bulk but we've all had some meals where you eat the meal and like 10 minutes later your brain's forgotten that you ate it, and you kind of go, what's for tea? And you realise, oh shit, I actually already ate. You don't tend to do that after carbs. But of course carbs are what helps to a large extent to make you fat. So does sugar. But it tastes nice. They're nice. But it's also funny how the Irish, who almost wholly live on potatoes, are not generally a fat race. So it's not just the potato. And they do butter. We do. And this is my problem with an awful lot of the diets that entirely cut everything out. I get the, you know, to shift weight in a direction, you maybe need to trim a bit off this or add a bit on that, you know, to balance out something. But with the My 600 Pound Life, it's 1,200 calories a day, no fat, no carb. Well, especially when, I mean, a friend of mine always laughs and says that, you know, beige food is bad for you. Well, no, it's not. But like everything, if that's all you eat... Rory's drinking the entire universe again. He's going to come in here and chuck it up, isn't he? Yes. Down to your face. Down to your face. Come here. Got wet bits on your face. How? Let me look. Is that better now? Yes, that's better now. So, yeah, finding that very difficult to concentrate on, it has to be said, because the bobbins, the shuttles just get on my nerves. So much easier with needles. You have to have 2 needles, but instead of changing, well, you use the other one and you make your thing, and then if you want it to be a loop, you poke your needle through it. If you don't want it to be a loop, you don't. So you actually can do it all really easily with 1 needle. The only thing that you do get is that it doesn't tend to have quite the same loop. If you think about, she says bring it straight back again. If you think about here, these blue loops look fairly continuous. Well, on these, they look a lot more going to, coming from. So these are just, they're the same thread, it's just different tensions, as I was trying to make it a bit harder to see if that would help balance it out. But yeah, you don't tend to get quite the same continuous line because you stop and you go round, and I could do better with that. If I was using 2 threads much like this one, you would do this bobble with the base, the thread that goes round and through the loop. You do another little loop, but you use the same thread to make that bobble, which is why these are all blue. So you go up with the white on the inside, and then you make a blue bobble, which is entirely blue, so it's got blue on the inside and the outside. Come back with white on the outside, blue on the inside, and then do a white bobble at the bottom. So you kind of snake around. But these are roughly the same size, look. So, this thread is actually slightly thicker than this. Did I actually use it for this? No, I did use it for that one. This one's slightly thinner, I think. Hello, Rory. Hello. Yes, I'm aware that's your paw. We had this discussion last night. We did. We did have this discussion last night. Excuse me one moment. My little puppies. I know I do things, and it means I can't always hug you as much as you'd like. But it's really not that bad. I'm still here. It's not that I don't love you, for I love you with all my heart. I do. And the immortal words of whoever the fuck it was, I knew I loved you before I met you. Because I'd seen a picture, frankly, but that's not the point. I did. When I needed new puppies, there were puppies presented to me in need, and I said yes. And you were those puppies, and I named you before I met you. Hello, Rory, are you comfortable yet? Oh, you're comfortable now. Okay. Well, unfortunately, I now can't reach my lace. But we can talk about lace and stuff and life. Are you licking my hand? I feel that you are. What have I said about hand licking? Okay. Mr. Licky Paws. You're being very gentle and nice and trying to be all kind of attentive and sweet, but I don't want to have my hands licked, little man. It's also not that warm, you know? It's part of the reason I had dinner. I should have had hot dinner, but it was part of the reason I had dinner. My body was cold, so I ate food and now it's got fuel to warm it up again. And now your sister's going to be a pain in the butt. Tell you what, we'll hug Heffy, look. We'll play with Heffy. Oh, there you go. That's one sister reappeared. Rory's tempted to get off from Chewer. Come on. Rory, you can't see him. He's literally just off screen here. That brown nose is a different nose. There's a Rory nose literally between me and here, because that's kind of as far as I can reach at the moment. Because there's a big black dog in the way. There is a big black dog in the way, and he's called Rory's. Yes, there is. Yes, and I compared a co-worker to you today. Yes, and I pointed out that you're more intelligent. Yes, I know that there's not a lot in there, but you're still more intelligent. You are. Because at least when I talk to you, you listen. You don't really know what I mean, but at least you're trying. Go and bite your sister, please. Go and bite your sister. Come on, off you go. Little paws, come on. I know you just want huggies. I do know you just want huggies. And you are a good boy. You are. That's why I fed you. Only good dogs get food. Did you? Only good doggies get food. But also, good doggies let me do what I was trying to do before you sat on me. Hey, come here. Oh, you sit there and do dog things. You do dog things. It is second strip, look. I have really only just started. Yay, Tenchi! My man, how you doing? So, but you can see that this results in a nicer curve, which is why I'm so really determined to try it. But I am also really struggling. These shuttle things do my sweet. But I bought blue to go with my white so I could see it a bit more. So now I have a blue ball of stuff. And lots of swearing to do. So, now it's been 40 minutes. Shall we play with some actual bobbin lace like we meant to? Well, that would be kind of sensible, would it not? Okay, so let's start here. For want of a better word, why not? So let's go here. And let's do a bit of this. So we've got you should be crossed. Nope. You should be crossed too. Why are you both not crossed? Or have I not done something else? I know that feeling well. I don't know why it was. I mean, the whole time I've been off, yes, I've been going to bed late, but I have been getting a reasonable night's sleep. Well, today was my first whole day back at work, because obviously Fridays we do short Fridays. And well, at least I did. As I said, I didn't sleep that well last night. I kept waking up, or rather, I don't. Well, I'm not convinced I went to sleep, but I also kept being very conscious that I was awake. So I don't know whether I was starting to doze off and never actually got there, or I dozed off for like minutes and then woke up again. But I was very conscious that kind of stuff, because I tend to have it read me half an hour of a book, right? And I know that every time it stopped reading the book, I was already awake and listening to the bit when it stopped. It's not like I woke up because it stopped. I was already awake. So I spent the whole night doing that. So I was absolutely knackered. But of course, in true can't really sleep very well shenanigans, of course you fell asleep the hour or so before you had to get up, didn't you? So I have to say it took a lot of effort to get out of bed this morning, because, well, yeah, and hence I think I'm a little bit kind of not in the mood to be up late doing uploads and shenanigans with things and stuff, and so I do think that I don't know quite what to do, because I mean, normally I finish work at 4, right? And normally if I don't start streaming till 7 or 8, I've had 4 odd hours. That's quite a decent chunk of time to do other things: walk the dog, hug the dog, feed the dog, play with the dog, you know, basically dog things. I've had a nice chunk of time I spent with them. But right now, it seems much more like I stop work, I go for a pee, I make a sandwich or something, because, you know, I have been eating a lot of kind of colder foods, so, but normally it'll be things like something in a wrap or the like. And it's like 9:15, and you're like, how? It is almost like I'm losing time, that I'm phasing out for a couple of hours, and I'm kind of know I'm not, but at the same time, I can't explain where the time went. And so there's kind of, well, maybe I am then, maybe I've got a problem. But I don't know. I mean, I noticed last week when I was trying to do something that my brain was just not offering the answers that I know it's got. So, having been a programmer for quite as long as I have, there are many things I've done many times, and normally I really don't give it a lot of thought. I just go off and do it. Now, it's not necessarily that I've done them in that order or together like that, but functions I use almost every time I write some code, my brain's been going, no, I can't tell you what it's called. I can tell you everything about it bar the thing you need to know right now. So, for example, last week, my brain wouldn't let me understand dictionaries. Now, the easiest way to explain a dictionary is, let's say I've got a list of people. Normally, you store them in an array or a list in your computer, and it's a numbered list. So, 0 might be me, 1 might be Netkisser, 2 might be Tenchi, right? And that's fine. But when you're writing a program, you don't really want sound number 3. You really want sound of footsteps, so that you know that you're using the right one. And so that even if then it doesn't load them in the same order for insert whatever reason best known to itself, because it knows it's called footsteps, it will always be footsteps, so it'll get on with it. Not that good at Python to entirely confirm or deny that. But what you would normally have, and I can now confirm to you with certainty, obviously in C#, for example, you have the name of the variable. Now, to be honest, what that is at that point, only the computer actually truly knows. I mean, you may have properly set it, in which case you know too. But if you wrote var like a lazy bastard, it's just a variable name. If you then assigned as its first action to be made into a dictionary, yeah, I came from Pascal, so structures and shit and Pascal and C, and so yeah, it's not an entire structure, because a structure is normally more than one type. So a data structure might be name, age, address, date of birth, right? A dictionary is a kind of one-to-one. Now it can be of an entire structure, but it is It is, but they also had structures. So, in general terms, a structure for an employee record might have number, name, date of birth, start of contract, wages, manager. Right? A dictionary is normally of a value. So, you would have that's not a good example. Dictionaries of, say, computer scientists. Say you've got 4 different grades of computer scientists. You might have the base salary for those, and you might have, base salary is not a good one. Job titles, fucking job titles. Everyone deals with job titles. So, computer scientist level 1, i.e. the first level, I know, junior programmer. Computer scientist 2, programmer. Computer scientist 3, senior programmer. Computer scientist 4, specialist programmer, right? But it means that anywhere you go, no matter what you want to change those titles to actually be, because you're having a reorg, and well, with every reorg they seem to change everyone's fucking job titles, just for the sheer hell of it all. It's still a code that takes to a single value. So, for example, if you're writing a game, you might have pictures for inventory. So, chest slot. So you might have chest, feet, hands, and in that you will put a value such as iron armor, tattered cloth, sword, bow, wand. Whichever slot, obviously, it would be relevant to. But you can assign a named item, so, body parts, whatever, left hand, wand, right? You don't assign body part 6, wand, because, well, what if you introduce rings? What if you've got a two-hander? What if you, right? You have the ability to work with a name that is more humanly followable than having arbitrary numbers that piss you off. Now you can do the same with enums, which are basically names for numbers. But a dictionary is a very efficient way of storing a lot of things. And it is, it's quite good because, as I said, you can technically store structures in it. So you could have, you could put the target in there, so you could have target, and it will remember, a whole pile of data about your target because you've got a structure that sort of says target, and in it you've put the enemy ID and his hit points and, you know, whatever else, right? And it is, but I knew how to make one. I knew how to test if a certain value was in there. So, have you filled in chest piece, right? I knew how to ask it that. What I couldn't remember is how you get the data back out of it. How I can say, show me the data in chest piece. And my brain just went, no. It couldn't remember it was called a dictionary. It knew how to look it up, but it couldn't answer the question. And it would just sit there and it would be kind of going, thing. And that all it would kind of do is go, yes, I know there's a name for it. Right. I don't know, I'm not going to, I can't tell you what the name is. I can't tell you that. And it makes me realise that I have been a lot more stressed than I thought I was, because I even had someone say it to me this morning. Oh, you reeled off all that stuff in the team meet this morning. I don't know how you remember it. And it's like, how do you not? And it is very difficult. And as an example, now, please do not think poorly of my employer's HR department, but when we got onboarded last year, we were onboarded with our GE contract. Oops, never mind. And as a result, we kept our working hours, we kept all of the kind of details to do with our roles. As a result of that, we kept the half-day Fridays because, well, we fought tooth and nail because they're legally part of our contracts. And when I started work on Friday, I started at 7 o'clock, as I usually do. And I was done by 12. 2 o'clock, the phone rang. Hi Liz, I'm from HR. I need to do your return to work thing. But I finished work 2 hours ago. What do you mean? Well, I started at 7, so I've done my hours. Oh. Now, because I used to work for my previous employer, we have 2 sets of systems, because obviously we're working for them still. I just get paid by somebody else. And for ease of thought, I just get paid by somebody else. So all my work is on the client machine. So I log in this morning, the first thing I do is look at my phone, there's nothing on it. I spend all day, do my job. And I happen to notice at the end of the day, after, while I was, kind of working a bit late, message from this morning on my employer's phone at about 10 o'clock. Hi, is 3 o'clock all right with you? To which I don't respond because obviously I'm working on my client machine and doing my job, and actually in a team meeting, more to the point. Thank you, Bianca. And then it continued on, and obviously later, well, we must do this, and it's kind of like, you really don't get that our work is on the client machine, that we don't need to look at any of this stuff during the day, that all of our work is somewhere else. And, I'd even mentioned it to her before, is that if you want to get hold of me during the day, you have to contact me on the client side, because I won't be looking at my employer side, because I only need it to enter my timesheet, which basically I do at the end of the week. So, it's, I'm not going to keep, because it's not easy. I mean, most of us have not got sufficient space to run, 2 lots of sets of everything, just to keep on the off chance that someone's going to ping you on something that normally they don't. So, I don't know quite how to respond to that. I don't quite how to say to her, will you stop expecting me to answer on a machine I'm not looking at, because that's not where my work is, We do not use these machines to do our jobs. We have client provided machines that we work on, and they are not connected. nor can they be. Therefore, I will not see this unless I happen to look at it. And, you know, no offence, it's on silent because you lot post things like, you know, it's worse than having Twitter. And so it's on silent so that I can concentrate on what I'm doing. So no, I won't see that you've sent me a message because, well, 8,000 other things have come up and yours is only one of them, you know? It all kind of shows up as a... Yeah, it's not like yours shows up as important and theirs is just, you know, if you're in the mood. The phone goes ping, 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 ping all day. So you turn it off because it's really annoying. And then, of course, the one time it needs you, you don't know because you turned it off. I've also noticed that my phones have upgraded to iOS 26. Don't know why they called it 26, but they've called it 26. I guess because they got bored. They decided to go with the year like everybody else. My phone wouldn't make any noises. Well, that's not quite true. It could make noises if I played YouTube videos. But pretty much nothing else made a single sound. So my co-worker messaging me, emails, literally nothing else made a noise. So, to be honest, I'm not even convinced it went ping. Would have gone ping today, because to be honest, I thought I'd turn the noises back on. Maybe I didn't. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I'm absolutely confident I did, but I thought I did. But again, I'm not looking at that because I'm doing my day job. I'm doing the work that I'm paid for, you know. So let's count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yes, it was stressful today. So I'm kind of only here in half a mind because I'm very tired, but also because, well, my mind's just caught up in 50 tons of work stuff I've got to do, stuff I have done. So to be honest, I don't know if I will be doing too much lace today because I have this burning need to get to bed and have a very long sleep. Because after all, it's nearly 9 o'clock already, you know, this is the problem, is the time just easily burns away in the evenings. I think it's something you don't suffer from as a kid because you don't go to work. And even though you go to school, because you don't do the same subject all day usually, you do an hour or so of this, an hour or so of that, you know, and in between it you have a break time where you go and play or you go and eat, and then you go and do something completely different. And, you know, whether you're 5 or 16, right, even though learning is important, you don't tend to get false pressure. You don't tend to get people going, running into your classroom almost going, I need this girl to do 50,000 sums by lunchtime. You know, you don't get that kind of thing, which you do when you're at work. Is that someone will waltz in and kind of go, I need this done by lunchtime. It's 5 to 12. Lunch is in 5 minutes. That does not fit in 5 minutes. But I need it now. You're breaking the business. No, you're breaking the business by not asking for it sooner, love. We are not breaking the business by being realistic and saying that is not going to happen in 5 minutes. But you don't get that at school, and so the no amount of prep work can kind of really totally prep you for going into an environment where someone will say to your boss, but I asked them to do it weeks ago, and lies through their teeth. And it comes down to they said, he said, you know, whatever. But the truth is that it's usually whoever gets there first with their excuse wins. So if 3 people turn around to your boss and say you never did something, the fact that you did it for all 3 of them is irrelevant. They've all said you didn't, so they were right. Doesn't matter that it got done. Doesn't matter if you can prove it. They were right. And your boss will believe them. And I guess it's always sat badly with me that you get people who, you know, barefaced lie about what they've asked for or what they've said they've done or any of that. And then it's your fault for either pointing out, no, they didn't, and proving it, or that it had been done, look, there it is. And you kind of, it just kind of winds me up because I'm sitting there going, well, if I lie, it's my fault. If you lie, it's my fault. If I don't lie and you don't lie, but my manager thinks I did, I still lied. Why is it that no one can think good of people? It's always the worst of people. And you know, like a man says, you know, you can do a million good things, but make one mistake and they won't forget it. And it does seem to be very, very true, is that despite all the things you have done, so let's say you helped 20 people today, one dude who didn't get his password changed because you didn't log the ticket, well, it's your fault. How? So, yeah, I'm kind of struggling with all of that at the moment, in that, to be honest, it's not let's call it my clients. They're not doing that, but other people are, and they're kind of claiming that I didn't do things, and I know I did. And it's not that I meant to do things and forgot. I actually know I did. I know that they've been told things. I know that they've been shown things. I know that it's not just me that's told them. And yet, conveniently, we know nothing about that. Well, you did, because, well, it's in this email. I spent an hour telling you. This guy spent an hour telling you how to achieve X, Y, Z. I'm sorry, but how is this... Fuck off, Poppy. You know, you have been shown, you have been done. How can you be... You know, how can people be believing you that this is you know, that when you're wrong? Look, can you just stay done up? It's the same bobbin for like the 4th time now. Can you just stay done up, please? Yeah, I don't know. I'm tired, I think, is the short answer. It's that I'm actually properly tired and I need some sleeps. sleep. And I still haven't booked the optician's appointment. I meant to, and I've only just realised it's 9 o'clock at night. Oh, I'm hot. It's not like my heating's on. Oh, hey. Local wildlife has come to join me again. It is that time of year. But like all things, how is it they can come through the tiniest of gap and at the same time can't go out through it? Oh, excuse me. Had an interesting conversation today with a co-worker about spiders, because I was telling her about, the insect life that comes to join me, and explaining how, we've had a big beetle and some weird things and all the rest of it, and we were talking about spiders, and it's like, I don't really have a problem with spiders, really don't. If it stays in the corner of the room and stays in the corner of the room, it'll live a long and healthy life. If it's running away from me, it'll live a long and healthy life. If it's running towards me, it becomes me or it, and I'm not, well, let's put it this way, I know I weigh more than it does. And now as a whole, I don't like to kill things. I do mean that genuinely, I really don't. Because, it's only minding its own business as much as it can. It didn't know that, that's probably not the right thing to do here. But at the same time, this is my house, you're not paying rent, but there are times when, the sheer surprise of it all, it can make you a little bit less rational. So I was explaining to her how, as a child, I've had a few spiders, for example, that won't wash down the plug hole. They're too big. Too big to go down the plug hole. Not because the roundness, because obviously our plug hole was kind of this size, but my plug hole's got like a honeycomb shape to it. So there's like a little small hole with legs coming off it, a bit like a spider. So if it's too big to go down through that central hole, well, then it's not going, right? And I've had a couple that were too big for the hole. But as a child, and I was quite a small child, I would have been like 7. There was the day I woke up and out from under my duvet crawled a spider. So literally, zzz, fast asleep, no idea about the world. Yeah, open eyeballs. Hello, there's a day. Look, there it is. And a little spider, if my head was here, literally must have been an inch from my nose. About 2 inches in diameter. Yeah. You have never seen such a small child leap out of bed at the speed of light, like someone declared all you eat free buffet to a starving man. Scared the bejesus out of me. Not quite as much as the next one though. Same bed, same room, same direction. It was actually a while later, so I think it was a year later. I'm sitting in bed, reading. Read. Plop. It landed on my naked shoulder. Now, kind of whether you're good with spiders or not, that's taking a liberty, you know? To actually land on you with almost as it did it, right? Scared the living bejesus out of me because I'm sitting in a room on my own and something lands on my shoulder. Those spiders did live to tell the tale, I think. Well, they might have died in the rush for me to get away from my bed, but I've never moved so fast in my life. I'm almost tired thinking about it. That's how bad that I got away from that. It was absolutely outstanding how scary that was. Because especially the one that just like landed on my shoulder. One of the things I was saying though is for all the little bug things that have joined us on my lace making pillow over the last few months, most of them don't seem to fly in. They just seem to suddenly be there for no good reason. And some of them were not the flying kind. So again, I don't know quite how they got there. But as I said to her, you know, you look up, there's nothing on the ceiling. You know, you didn't see anything creeping across the floor because it's got pale ass carpet, so normally if something dark was moving across the floor you'd notice. You didn't see it flying around. It's not like you knew it was there and it's just landed. No. Zero sign for it until it lands on whatever it is that you were trying to do. And one of the other surprising factors, of course, is that if you, on a sunny day, sit and look at a meadow or sit in a meadow and watch, you will see little bumblebees going about, bumbling about their business. The only real time you ever see a wasp is when you've got a sweet drink at the pub. Without fail. Food, sweet drink at the pub, a wasp will appear. At least one. And so you'll trap it under a glass because you don't really want to be stung while you're eating your dinner. And lo, for there is a new one. There is a replacement wasp to take over its duties. And I happen to know that I should be allergic to wasps in the sense that a wise man once said you can't be allergic to something the first time. You can have a reaction to it, but you can't really be proper allergic, the first time. But when you have you've thrown me now, Tench. It's not your fault. I'm struggling for brain cells today, so this is another side effect that I'm having. It's normally I'm good. Right now, everything goes out the window. But I know I was saying something about people. A big allergic to things. That's right. You can react to it the first time, but you're not really allergic to it yet. You have to have had it once to truly be allergic to it. Problem is if you react badly to it the first time, really badly the first time, second time you may not make it. And I got stung a few years ago for the first time in my life. I've always been a bit paranoid about being stung, and I have played many dodge the wasp thing. But I found myself stung by a wasp in the middle of the night. What it was doing up, I don't know, because it was absolutely pitch black. I only know it was a wasp because I went, as it landed on, well, it stung me on my right arm, and I know it was a lot further up, but I went like this. It bounced off the radiator, tang, in the middle of the night. Then I heard Maddie leap off the bed and go, literally. And so, well, it didn't really survive that bit, and because I found it on the floor later. So I know that it was definitely a wasp. But what was it doing up at like 4 o'clock in the morning? That's not right. That's not right there. I screwed that up. There you go. So yeah, I do find myself excessively wary of wasps now, because of course, well, if I am that allergic to it, it could kill me. Because the next 12 hours, I was really, really hot, really, really dizzy, really kind of spaced out. I felt nauseous. I just felt absolutely death warmed up. And so if I feel like that for something I haven't entirely reacted to because it's the first time my body's got it, what the heck would I do again on the next one? So I have to say I'm hoping that it'll be another 50 years before I find out, and that's okay, because maybe I won't make it for the second one. So that would be grand, please, world. I would definitely appreciate not finding out if I'm truly allergic or not. Because, well, my guess would be I am. If I react that badly. I'm roasting alive. How am I roasting alive? Excuse me. I am literally kind of trying not to fall asleep on you. Absolutely. This is not going to be one of my most productive days, I can tell that. My biggest fear is making a mistake that I'm not going to notice. I'm going to have to admit defeat. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. So, once again, I find myself apologising. It's something I seem to be doing a lot of recently. And I am sorry, I do mean it genuinely. But I am absolutely dead. And I want to go get some sleep. I want a new night. I want some sleeps. So as I say, I do apologise. Absolutely. It's a bit chat. See what it looks like. Don't see any obvious mistake. So, but yeah, I'm afraid I'm gonna go hug dog and go to sleep. As I said, I'm really, really sorry. But I am not awake. I'll probably literally stare at my computer for 3 minutes and it'll be 2 o'clock in the morning. That's how awake I am. So, I'm going to go get some sleep and try and be more awake for tomorrow. I'm sure more stuff will come up tomorrow. But I will try and stop at 4 and get some stuff in, like proper food and hugging of dog, and because they deserve the hugs. They really do. They do deserve the attention. It's not their fault. So I gotta go and spend a bit of time with the dogs. But I tried, people. I know it's only night, well, it's not in bed, just under 90 minutes, but I didn't feel I could call it off, but at the same time, I kind of knew this was going to be hard going. But I think it's partly the bright light. If you've ever been to the ballet or something like that, where you sit in the dark and have a bright light kind of over there. I'm always feeling off, Mika gets me. That's part of the problem. And I'm not kind of my usual self, but I am absolutely knackered, and I know I really didn't sleep much last night. So I am going to take my soul to bed. I will get some. I mean, let's put it this way. Saturday night, I spent most of the night having a pee. Yeah, last night I didn't get enough sleep. Oh, definitely, my little land hippos. You are very good little puppies. Even if you give me your arse to hug at night rather than your head, I would rather have the better end. I will say that, Rory. For the record, I would much rather have your head end. Yes. Because I know what comes out of your butt. I have seen, well, more accurately, I have felt them and smelt them. But I do feel like I haven't really given them enough time. And so I should, for they're loving and their lives are short, and I should make more effort to make their lives happy. So rather than telling them off and pushing them away, I'm going to go and hug them. Even though they're both basically asleep right now. Well, they're both pretending to be asleep. Rory's not actually asleep. But he is mostly asleep. He's about as awake as I am, I think, is the short answer. Only he got to lie down, so he looks a bit more asleep. Yeah, I think that's going to be the plan. We're all going to curl up in a big pile and go to sleep. I think that'll be good. I do love how dogs do this, though. They kind of like bounce all over you to get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. The moment you go downstairs, they go back to sleep. And you're left wide awake doing work things going, this doesn't feel entirely fair. I'm the one bringing the money in, and yet you're sleeping. You should work and pay rent. And, yeah. But they do in their own way, don't they? Anyway, I shall see you tomorrow. As I say, I do apologise, but it's better than falling asleep on stream. See you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.